ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to stage the National Biodiesel Board's Technical Director and our session's moderator, ladies and gentlemen, Scott Fenwick.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us for this afternoon's Mainstage event, In It for the Long Haul, as well as our biodiesel vehicle showcase. The video you saw just now, somehow my car didn't make the cut. I thought it should have, but you're going to see and hear a lot about diesel vehicle technology today. As you know, there's much talk in the marketplace today about the future of the transportation industry and the role of liquid fuels will have within it. There's no doubt in the future of the fuels market is heavily influenced by the future of the vehicle technology market, and vice versa. The two are inseparable. So we're very fortunate to have with us today a panel of experts representing some of the top industry associations on the front lines of our nation's transportation future to discuss their perspectives on the road ahead. Please join me in welcoming our distinguished panelists. First is the incoming president of the National Association of Fleet Administrators, or NAFA, as well as the Fleet Fuel Operations Specialist for Florida Power and Light, Patty Early. Secondly is the Director of Policy and External Affairs for the Diesel Technology Forum, or DTF, Ezra Finken. Ezra? And also joining us is the Senior Director of Fleet Relations for the National Truck and Equipment Association, or NTEA, George Savant. Well, thank you all for joining us here today. It's great to have such a wealth of experience. And let's have a seat and get started. So I'd first like to ask each of you, first question, to tell us a little bit more about your individual backgrounds, as well as the transportation industry, as well as your current role in the organizations that you serve. What major changes have you seen in fleet transportation over the years, and what do you see as some of the major tipping points for the future? George, let's start with you.
I've managed fleets in 49 states and some Pacific Rim countries, including Korea, the Philippines, and Okinawa, and proud to call myself a graduate of the Hawaiian Telephone School of Management. I work with the NTEA now as Senior Director of Fleet Relations.
Ezra, how about yourself?
Well, first of all, I do not have the wealth of experience that George has, but I'll hopefully provide you with some insights that I have for the short time that I've been working in the industry. I actually started off 20 years ago working with retailers on trade policy, and at that time, there wasn't a whole lot to do on trade policy, but there was a whole lot to do on sustainable supply chain and supply chain management. So I had to quickly get up to speed on all sorts of EPA standards on emissions as it relates to trucks and marine ocean-going vessels and heavy-duty equipment. And I have, since that time, transitioned to the Diesel Technology Forum, where I serve as the Policy and Outreach Director for a group that represents diesel engine vehicle equipment manufacturers, including the National Biodiesel Board. So thank you all very much for the support that you provided us.
Thank you. And Patty, tell us about your experience both with FP&L and NAFA.
Okay, well, first of all, NAFA is an organization of about 3,000 members that serves the fleet manager community. So it's the fleet managers and then the support services that go along with that. And I will be the incoming president in February, so next month. As far as my real paying job, I started with fleet over 30 years ago. Not quite as long ago as George, but over 30 years ago. I started out as the fleet manager for South Dakota State University, then became the Deputy State Director of Fleet and Travel Management for the state of South Dakota. And then about 13 years ago, I traded in my snow shovel and my scraper and moved to Florida to work for FPL. And when you ask about changes that you know, I've seen in that 30 years, it's pretty amazing. The technologies that we've seen change on vehicles, it's pretty incredible change, and it's, you know, it's getting faster and faster all the time. I know one thing that we're using, we have a number of plug-in hybrid electric bucket trucks, and we run those on biodiesel. So you're seeing not only the savings from the plug-in hybrid electric, but also running that with the biodiesel really shows a huge reduction in emissions for us.
That's fantastic. As a benefit to our audience, Ezra, can you briefly summarize the fuel economy, CO2 regulations that those OEMs or those original equipment manufacturers are facing, and the various options that they're considering to meet those lofty goals? Why do diesel powertrains and advanced biofuels, such as biodiesel and renewable diesel, continue to play an important part in the fuel mix for those OEMs?
Sure. I spend a lot of my time looking at regulations and the fuel economy standards that are on the books today. I definitely committed to memory, but that is a very dangerous thing, so I have a little cheat sheet here to make sure that I am honest with the information I give you. So we are already in the first ever fuel economy standard for heavy-duty vehicles and equipment. I'm sure most of you are aware of that, but just to give you a little background as to the benefits that those standards provide. Again, these are for commercial vehicles. EPA estimates that over the lifetime of the rule from 2014 to 2018, those benefits include 270 million tons of CO2 reduced, 530 million barrels of crude oil saved, and providing $50 billion to vehicle and equipment owners by way of fuel savings. So those are very significant benefits. Those are technologies that are actually have been adopted in new and relatively new vehicles that are on the road today. Coming up, we have the Phase 2 fuel economy standards that kick in on the vehicle side, beginning in 2021 and phase in through 2027. And those benefits are far more significant than the Phase 1 benefits. Those are 1.1 billion tons of CO2, 2 billion barrels of crude oil saved, providing 170 billion in fuel savings to vehicle and equipment manufacturers. So those are enormous benefits, not only to the vehicle and equipment owners and operators, but to society in general in terms of CO2 reduction. And in terms of the technologies that we're going to see to meet those standards, those are basically hardware technologies. So that's everything from low rolling resistance tires, lightweight materials, aerodynamic trucks and trailers, and including some powertrain improvements. But the important thing here is that it is a diesel engine under the hood today, and it will be a diesel engine under the hood of these vehicles that will contribute these enormous societal benefits. And these, again, the technologies that EPA is regulating here to essentially meet these very stringent fuel economy standards for commercial vehicles, that's hardware. That says nothing about the fuel. So fleets that are choosing to use biodiesel, renewable diesel fuel, will help us get to those targets faster, if not exceed those targets. And we're seeing fleets adopt these fuels in greater numbers and with greater success. So hats off to all you folks for providing this fuel to the growing number of fleets that are looking to seriously enhance their sustainability goals and meet their goals years ahead of schedule.
The National Biodiesel Board has a long history of working with auto and engine manufacturers to provide the technical data, robust ASTM fuel specs, fuel quality assurance that's needed to earn their support for the use of biodiesel blends in their equipment and engines. In fact, the vast majority of the medium and heavy-duty truck OEMs, also key stakeholders in NTEA's membership, support B20 biodiesel blends. Similarly, NTEA has long been recognized for providing a wealth of information resources to aid truck manufacturers, equipment distributors, and end-user fleets in their strategic planning efforts and fleet vehicle procurement process. So, George, what have some of NTEA's recent research shown about the current and future demand for diesel vehicles and use of biodiesel blends in those vehicles?
The data that you're going to see in these slides include information that's pre-publication, which we were eager to share with this group from our annual survey of fleets and fuel users. There are a number of questions directly related in our fleet survey to the use of biodiesel, which has expanded over time because of the importance of biodiesel to the trucking community as a whole, vocational trucks specifically, and the growth of readily available access to good quality biodiesel products. The first graph that you'll see, and I'm not going to spend a long time talking about this, these slides will be available to you as attendees in the near future. What you're seeing here is an EIA slide, Energy Information Agency, which shows production and demand for biodiesel over time. What's fairly fascinating about this is you can see a nice steady progression of growth in both demand and production. One of the most encouraging things about this slide that I want to leave you with is that the ability to expand production to meet the demand has proven to be fairly reliable. And that's very good news if you're in the business of buying a critical engine resource or a critical fleet resource like fuel. Again, these are somewhat eye charts. Biodiesel is the top block of bars. Those bars represent different years' use. You'll notice that biodiesel is one of the very top sources of alternative fuels, and it's particularly interesting in that E85, the next largest contributor to the biofuels use, is government mandated in any number of states. So biodiesel stands on its own and has earned its way to the top of the heap with its characteristics and top reliable performance. This is the slide about the future anticipated use of biodiesel. You can see that there continues to be very strong interest going forward. The bottom bar, for those of you that are sitting in the front, because I know no one past the front has any chance of seeing the rest of this, but the bottom bar is the most recent year. So you can see that these are very strong trends. This is biodiesel usage, and is it seasonal or not? And we thought this was a particularly interesting question, and this is the first year that we've asked this. And you'll note that 35% roughly of the users consider this a seasonal fuel, but given that this fuel is used all over North America, it's not a big surprise that some fleets really find it challenging in the worst of the winter months. If you were in Minnesota with me yesterday, the walkway was -5 degrees off that plane. So I don't know how anything operates, much less fuel-driven diesel engine. The last slide I have for you is a percent of blends. And it's fairly interesting that I think the blend availability by market may drive this as much as the choice of the fleet operator. I know that when we had operations across North America, in some locations it was very hard to find on a consistent basis through the retail distribution market. If you have questions about this purchasing survey has a wealth of data. It also suggests, although we didn't have the numbers compiled, that diesel sales looking into the future will continue to be strong and stretch the capabilities of the OEMs in terms of meeting their manufacturing commitments. Any questions, of course, will be available after the.
We appreciate that information, and it's great to offer our attendees that preview before it's publicly available. Patty, I'd like to ask you, from your perspective as the Fleet Fuel Operations Specialist for Florida Power and Light, FPL has become known throughout Florida, as well as the rest of the country, as a true biodiesel success story in terms of going all in, implementing biodiesel throughout your operations. Can you tell folks a bit about the extent of your operations regarding biodiesel at FP&L and why the fuel makes sense for your fleet?
Well, I'm actually going to start with the last part of that question. So the fuel makes sense for us. Biodiesel is very easy to use. It's a drop-in fuel. You don't have to have special infrastructure. FPL's parent company is NextEra Energy. So FPL is the regulated utility in the state of Florida, but our sister company, NextEra Energy Resources, is the unregulated side of the company that does mostly outside the state of Florida. So we do business in 31 states and I believe 5 provinces in Canada, and we are the largest provider of electricity from the wind and the sun in the world. So obviously we're a very green company. We pride ourselves in being a very green company, so biodiesel really fits into that. And as you can see on the slide, we're very proud of the fact we burn biodiesel. It's right on the side of all of our vehicles that we're burning biodiesel in those vehicles. We started our program back in 1999 in a limited study in parts of the fleet. We tracked, the performance and the miles per gallon and maintenance just to see how it compared to regular diesel fuel, and we really could see no difference. So it was adopted fleet-wide. In 2004, 2005, Florida had a very nasty couple years of hurricane seasons. And one thing that becomes very apparent when you're doing emergency restoration is that during that time, it is very difficult to get a hold of fuel. Fuel can be a major challenge. So we went out and leased tank space at that time to be able to store fuel. And that allowed us the opportunity to really start blending our own B20 biodiesel. In 2014, we refurbished a tank of our own, so I actually have a 4.8 million gallon tank that sits near my office that we blend biodiesel in. During hurricane season, we'll have about 3 million gallons in that tank, just so we know that we have fuel certainty around any restoration efforts that we'll need. We also started selling biodiesel. For years, we had done outreach to fleets and clean cities and other municipalities and just told them our biodiesel story. So we would have them come to us after the presentation and go, "We like what you do, we like the way you handle your quality and your testing, can we buy it from you?" And we would have to say, "Sorry, we can't sell it to you." But we changed that. So in 2015, we actually started selling biodiesel to other fleets. And something else exciting we have going on right now, in about 2 months, we'll be commissioning 2 additional tanks down in Port Everglades. One is a 1 million gallon biodiesel tank, one is a 1 million gallon ultra low sulfur diesel tank, and we have an injection blending system, so we'll be able to blend biodiesel to any strength we want. Because it's my preference to burn B30, so I'll be able to burn B30 again.
That is great news. So as we look down the road of the future, I'd like to ask each of our panelists, how do you see diesel vehicles powered by biodiesel blends fitting into that mix? What challenges, opportunities do you see for the biodiesel industry in order for them to stay in it for the long haul? And George, we'll start with you.
In my role at the NTEA, I speak to a lot of fleet operators, and there continues to be some level of misconception in the general fleet community about how good a contribution biodiesel can make to their operation. There always, when you face significant levels of change, there's a tendency to want to say, well, I'm going to wait for that over-the-fence hit, that silver bullet solution. And the practical fact is, most fleet operators that are burning significant amount of diesel, not using biodiesel, are missing a great opportunity to start cleaning their emissions and improving the quality of their fleet operation today. That business about waiting till you get a better product or waiting till you get something that's going to solve all your ills is generally a fairly short-sighted perspective, in my opinion. The best opportunities for the biodiesel industry in the future is to continue to rack up your successes, continue to build the reputation of a good quality product that can be delivered and distributed nationwide and available to fleets large and small.
Ezra, what about you? What additional opportunities and challenge do you foresee in the future?
Yeah, we were thinking about this in preparation for the panel here, and I would say that the challenges are great and the opportunities are even greater. So whenever we're out there, and again, my role here at the Diesel Technology Forum is to outreach directly to policymakers and research community, folks at the environmental NGOs, health NGOs. That's my role. And everything that we do in terms of our outreach to that community, policymakers and think tank researchers, NGOs, is clouded under the Volkswagen emissions cheating scandal. So every time we meet with somebody, even though that event happened almost 4 going on 5 years ago, very often we get a lot of eyes rolling and folks who just fundamentally don't understand the technology, and they really do believe that the unfortunate decision made by one manufacturer now clouds the entire industry. So we spend an enormous amount of time trying to educate folks about the benefits of clean diesel technology, including the fuels, including the benefits of biodiesel and renewable diesel fuels. So we anticipate that challenge is going to be out there, and it's something that we have to respond to pretty much on a daily basis. There are folks in our office who do media outreach, and it's very much a part of what they do intensively on a daily basis. And I would say the other challenge is we now have a growing list of progressive states, and more importantly, progressive municipalities that are looking to make fundamental decisions relating to sustainability for their fleets. And I think an important bellwether here is to look what's happening across the pond, so to speak, in Europe, and all sorts of efforts, again, at the municipal level, a long list of growing list of municipalities that are looking to ban the internal combustion engine. We haven't seen that at such a robust level here in the United States yet. I think we will. Like I said, there is a long list and growing list of municipalities that are looking to really boost their sustainability credentials by making statements about the need to invest in zero-emission vehicle technologies. There are still yet some states, governors, as well as some municipalities that have stated that it's their intention to divest in fossil fuels. I think and it all goes back to the internal combustion engine technology. And here at the Diesel Technology Forum, one of the great opportunities there is to say, why do you need to ban the internal combustion engine? You can have the internal combustion engine run on things other than fossil fuels, biodiesel, renewable diesel fuel. So I think that the fuel that you folks manufacture and produce and sell represents an enormous opportunity in that debate. And here at the forum, representing the engine manufacturers and the vehicle and pieces of equipment that they manufacture as well, they're operating under all sorts of different regulations. I talked a little bit about CO2 emissions and the very stringent standards that have been established coming up quickly. Already, manufacturers have to meet very stringent emission standards for NOx. It's a smog-forming compound, ground-level ozone, a ground-level ozone-forming compound. But already manufacturers have stepped up. They understand that technology is out there. It's technically feasible to meet an even lower NOx standard. The industry has actually stated that they would like to be regulated for the purpose of getting technology out the door to further reduce NOx, all while meeting these enormously stringent standards for CO2. So I think in the opportunity column, there's a big check mark for diesel technology in terms of meeting standards that improve air quality, along with standards that significantly boost sustainability credentials by reducing CO2, not only by hardware, but also on the fuel side with biodiesel and renewable diesel fuel.
I would agree. Patty, you've got a huge opportunity stepping in as the incoming leader of the National Association of Fuel Administrators. What will your messages be looking into the future?
The fleets that I know are all worried about sustainability. They're all worried about being clean. They just need the opportunity to be able to do that in their fleet. For a lot of the municipalities, the issue is always money. So they can't necessarily go out and spend money on different technologies. So for them, biodiesel is a great fit. And NAFA, promotes all forms of alternative fuels and alternative technologies. But I just think biodiesel is one of the easiest ones that fleets can fit into, economically fit into their operations.
I think it's great, the value and the partnership in working with each of you and your organizations. Please thank me join me in thanking our panelists for their insight, experience, and perspective with us today. The National Biodiesel Board sincerely appreciates, working with NTEA, National Association of Fleet Administrators, and the DTF, and we look forward to those continued partnerships as we work together to ensure that diesel engines powered by biodiesel blends are indeed in it for the long haul. Let's give them all one last round of applause.
And ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the Biodiesel Vehicle Technology Showcase. Please help me welcome to stage OEM Market Developing Manager for the National Biodiesel Board. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Jennifer Weaver.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. So glad to see your all smiling faces here. Wasn't that a great panel? Let's give them another round of applause. I want to extend a heartfelt thanks again to our partners from NTEA, NAFA, and the Diesel Technology Forum for giving us a glimpse into the future of the transportation industry. So now it's time to put the pedal to the metal and take a look at some of the original equipment manufacturers' latest diesel offerings and equipment models. And they are the ones that are leading us on the way to a more sustainable transportation future. So our OEM partners have brought along this week here an impressive lineup of vehicles, both for display here in our Biodiesel Vehicle Technology Showcase, as well as during our Ride and Drive event taking place tomorrow. They have also brought along an impressive array of prizes for our NBB conference attendees again this year. I hope many of you had an opportunity to register for the Ride and Drive event earlier out at our registration desk there at the main registration area. We also will have that going on here in the OEM lounge as well. That automatically enters you into a chance to win some of these great prizes. So buckle up and pay attention. Your name may be called here at the end of the session. You may just be a winner. So let's get this show on the road and bring up our first guest, representing the off-road agricultural and equipment manufacturing market, Mr. Steve Geik, Director of Industry Relations for John Deere.
On behalf of John Deere, our employees and dealers across the U.S., it's great to be here with you in San Diego as part of the National Biodiesel Conference. Wasn't 2018 an interesting year? It was especially challenging for American soybean growers who once again produced more than 4 billion bushels of soybeans for the third straight year. For months, you waited for Congress to pass a farm bill, which is finally done before the end of 2018. And of course, soybean growers have been rightfully concerned with all of the talk and posturing in Washington regarding tariffs, U.S. trade relations with China and other countries. It will be interesting to see where 2019 takes our industry. The agricultural industry is undergoing tremendous change. As we look toward the future, it's obvious new technology is becoming interwoven into every aspect of our lives, including farm equipment. As John Deere works to help farmers address the rising demand for farm productivity to feed and fuel the world, it's likely advances in technology will continue to play an important and necessary role. Obviously, John Deere recognizes the economic importance of biofuels to agriculture and the role it plays in providing fuel for the world. In addition, we understand its value to society through an environmental and a health standpoint. As you probably are aware, one of the primary advantages of biodiesel is its renewability. As a renewable domestic energy source, biodiesel helps reduce demand on petroleum imports. It's also non-toxic, biodegradable, and very suitable for use in sensitive environments. Again, it's another reason we feel it's important for our company to directly support and see this industry grow. Many of you know John Deere designs, manufactures, and distributes a comprehensive line of diesel engines, from 40 to more than 600 engine horsepower. These engines are used to power John Deere branded vehicles used in agriculture, construction, mining, forestry, generators, and even marine applications around the world. You know, one of the things that John Deere is very proud of is that we were one of the first OEMs to fully embrace the use of biofuels. In 2001, we approved the use of B5 in all of our diesel engines. I'm proud to say that our support continues today, even at higher blends of biodiesel. As for our more current and higher emission engines, our interim Tier 4 and final Tier 4 engines, where we have a diesel particulate filter, these engines are approved up to B20. Whether our engines are manufactured in North America or across Europe, these vehicles leave their respective factories with biodiesel already in the tank. But again, it's something we've done for many years, and we look forward to continue supporting the biodiesel industry in the ways as we move forward into the future. I want to thank you for the opportunity to be a part of this year's vehicle showcase. And thank you to the National Biodiesel Board for allowing John Deere to continue to be a member and a sponsor. Participating in this manner is one of the significant ways our company can continue to support the broader biofuels industry. In the past, we've showcased some of our latest tractors at this event. However, John Deere is leveraging diesel technology in agricultural and construction equipment with products used for livestock producers, farmers, consumers, and commercial mowers. So we have two new products I'd like to announce for 2019. The first is a XUV 835M diesel gator compatible up to B20. You'll see it sitting off to my right. Please take an opportunity to look at it. In addition, we just recently introduced a new Z994 zero-turn mower that is both diesel compatible and compatible up to B20 biodiesel fuel. Again, thank you for the opportunity to be here today and visit with many of you. I appreciate all of you being in support of biofuel industry, and I hope you have a great convention. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, Steve. Thank you very much. And thanks to John Deere for your loyal support of the biodiesel industry. We really do appreciate it. John Deere also is a major sponsor of the National Biodiesel Conference this year as an OEM Plus sponsor and the welcome reception last night. And I think it's safe to say we all had a great time at that gathering last night. So now it's time to welcome our second guest, representing the medium and heavy-duty truck market, Mr. Vernon Allen, Corporate Fleet Development Manager for Isuzu Commercial Truck of America.
Welcome to San Diego, and thank you for allowing me to come and share a little bit about Isuzu with you. Every time I see this video, I still like it. I don't know. I'm kind of partial that way, I guess. What do you do? Anyway, the Isuzu line of low-cab Ford trucks offers the industry a diesel engine that is biodiesel certified or a gasoline engine that is both CNG and LPG capable. Isuzu has been the best-selling low-cab Ford truck in America every year since 1986. It commands as high as 85% of the low-cab Ford market in the United States. Decades of performance and millions of miles of reliability have made Isuzu the unquestionable, unvanquished undisputed leader in this class. Hundreds of thousands of owners, operators, fleet managers can attest to the performance of the economy, the maneuverability, the reduced maintenance, the longer life, and lower operating cost of Isuzu trucks. Whether you're in the business of construction, delivery, landscaping, storage, or any other field that needs a good, capable, dependable, there's an Isuzu truck that will work for you. Lowering our customers' cost of ownership is our main goal. And to do this, we minimize the downtime. With such reliability, there's less downtime needed for repairs, and regular maintenance can be scheduled at your convenience at one or more of our 300 dealers nationwide. Maximum productivity. With Isuzu's low cab forward design, it allows for quicker and safer deliveries. This is due to our industry-leading driver visibility and turning radius. Also, a smaller carbon footprint. In utilizing Isuzu's 5.2-liter diesel engine, you get better fuel economy than typical gasoline engines. Isuzu also recognizes the importance of using biodiesel fuels and alternative renewable fuels based on global trends and requirements such as energy security, reducing and that contributes to global warming. Isuzu supports the utilization of up to B20 biodiesel blends. We do recommend that biodiesel users purchase their fuel from a BQ 9000 certified vendor. Reliability. Over 70% of all units sold since 1986 are still in service today. Our diesel engine life expectancy is around 375,000 miles. Our productivity and efficiency is terrific. No conventional truck, pickup, or cutaway can give you the advantages of the Isuzu low cab forward design, including more cargo space within a given overall length, a tighter turning radius. In fact, Isuzu trucks are class leading in maneuverability with curb-to-curb or wall-to-wall comparisons. Easy to access engine compartment through a full 45-degree tilt cab that functions to allow quicker service, easier entry and exit, better visibility. We offer the most choices. Isuzu offers a wide range of cabs, single and dual wheelbases, GVWRs, and power plants, so we can meet your medium-duty truck needs. No matter what they are, hundreds of thousands of owner, operators, fleet managers can attest to the performance, economy, and maneuverability, and the reduced maintenance and longer life and lower operating costs of the Isuzu trucks. Whether your business is, again, construction, landscaping, storage, or any other field that needs a dependable truck, there is an Isuzu truck that'll work for you. Our in-series vocations are class 3 through 5, GVWs are 12,000 to 19,500 GVW for dry box, vans, landscaping, plumbing, construction, etc. Our all-new F-Series that we launched last year was completely designed for North America and designed as a Class 6. It is our model FTR, engineered and assembled in the United States. The 2018 Isuzu FTR is a full Class 6, 25,950 GVW truck. The GVWR, and powered by Isuzu's proven 4HK1 TC turbo 5.2-liter diesel engine. It is a standard cab only, but a big point is it is under CDL, so you don't have to worry about getting those CDL drivers. It will accommodate body applications from 16 feet to 30 feet, and we have many U.S. components giving common availability and service for parts. The engine has its high torque, high output, and its best fuel economy in its class. And again, the F-Series vocations are much similar as at the end, just larger cargo, of course, in the dry box, landscaping, plumbing, construction, etc. Please stop by our booth to see one of our models close up, and please participate in the ride and drive to experience the differences yourself. I think you really will find it worthwhile. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Nice job. Thank you. Thank you very much for that great overview, Vernon, and many thanks also to Isuzu Commercial Truck of America for joining us as an OEM Plus sponsor this year. We really do appreciate your support, and it's great to have a beautiful medium-duty truck out there. So I highly encourage you to visit with Vernon and his coworker Michael in the OEM Lounge here later, and also go for a spin in their truck tomorrow during the Ride and Drive event. I think you'll really enjoy it. All right, so we're going to shift gears now a little bit again, and it's time to welcome our third guest representing the light-duty market. Please welcome Mr. Jim Michon, Commercial Business Manager for the LA region for Ford Motor Company. Thanks.
Well, thank you, Jennifer, and the National Biodiesel Board. I really appreciate the opportunity to be at today's event. And I also wanted to thank our customers for your business, and hopefully we'll continue to earn your trust today and into the future. So first, what I'd like to do is show you our portfolio of products. At Ford, we're really proud of our breadth of offering from a Class 1 Connect and F-150 all the way up to an F-750 Class 7 vehicle that goes up to 37,000 pounds gross vehicle weight. And within that portfolio, we have 5 vehicles that have diesel engines and are fully capable of running on biodiesel B20. First up, we have the F-150. And one thing I do want to mention is that all of these biodiesel vehicles that I'm about to review are capable of running biodiesel right from the factory. There's nothing special that's needed to run on biodiesel, and as soon as you pick it up from the dealer, it's ready for use. Now with the F-150, it has the 3-liter V6 Power Stroke engine, and it is a class leader in all diesel engine categories, from towing of 11,400 pounds to payload over 2,000 pounds, and it's got a best-in-class rating of highway fuel economy up to 30 miles per gallon. It's also won the Motor Trend Truck of the Year in 2018, and we just celebrated our 42nd year of sales dominance with our F-Series lineup. Next, I'd like to talk about our Super Duty product. It has the 6.7-liter diesel engine. It has 450 horsepower, 935 pounds-feet of torque. It's capable of conventional towing up to 21,000 pounds, and it has gooseneck towing up to 35,000 pounds. It also has a payload max capability of 7,640 pounds. Next up is medium duty truck, and again, the 6.7 liter is used in our medium duty as well. The 6.7 liter has the best-in-class standard horsepower and torque with 270 horsepower and 725 torque. It also, 675 pounds-feet of torque. It also has 2 optional engine horsepower and torque offerings as well. And then we go to Transit. Transit has been a great offering for us. When we launched it a few years back and it replaced E-Series for the completed van and wagons, we didn't even anticipate that it would be so well accepted in the market. And it's the best-selling van in America, and it has an over 50% market share. So we're very pleased with our Transit. It has the 3.2-liter i5 Power Stroke engine in it. And then lastly, we have the Connect. And our Connect has the 1.5-liter diesel engine, and it's actually B30 capable. So we've raised the bar with our Connect. We've actually allowed it to use more than the 20% of our other vehicles. And so we're now B30 with Connect. And it's targeted to be at least 30 miles per gallon on the highway. So we're very pleased with that. And then lastly, I'd like to talk a little bit about, even though today's focus is on biodiesel, I did want to mention that we have a whole array of advanced technologies and alternative fuels that we offer on our vehicles. Now, most of the products we try to offer right from the factory, but there are some products that we have our qualified vehicle modifiers, or our QVMs, that help us with providing those products. And our engineering team works very closely with those QVM modifiers to make sure that you're receiving the quality and the capability that you need. So we have QVM partners to offer gaseous fuels such as CNG and LPG. We also have the eQVMs, which are the electrified QVMs, to offer hybrids and battery electric vehicles and also hydraulic assist vehicles, so that we're meeting the needs of all the diverse product that you need. And if you need to reference what we offer, you can always go to the fleet.ford.com website and look at all of our offerings in our Advanced Fuel Buyer's Guide. So with that, I thank you for your time, and I hope you have a great time at the event.
thank you, Jim, for being here and on behalf of Ford. And we really do look forward to test driving some of Ford's new diesel models here tomorrow. Last year, Ford kind of teased us a little bit. They had that beautiful new 2019 Ford F-150 on display in our vehicle showcase, but they weren't in production yet. But good news is we've got one here tomorrow. So come and test drive that as well as the Ford Transit. Be sure to sign up for the ride and drive, either here in the OEM lounge or out in the lobby later, and be sure to check that out. So finally, we're going to close out our vehicle showcase by taking a look at the diesel engine segment. And a little bit of a note about the heavyweight in that industry. This year, Cummins Inc. celebrates 100 years of diesel engine production for vehicles and engine or equipment spanning pretty much every transportation market. So on display at the National Biodiesel Conference this year is Cummins' new crated aftermarket diesel engine offering. It's the R2.8 turbo diesel, and it is currently repowering a 1979 Toyota Land Cruiser BJ40 that was brought back to new life by the Clean Cruiser Project. This is the first time that a major diesel engine manufacturer has offered a crated common rail diesel engine direct to consumers as a retrofit option. And Cummins supports the use of B20 biodiesel blends in all of its diesel engines, including the new R2.8, giving consumers the option of using biodiesel blends in practically any vehicle that they choose. So let's take a look. Exciting stuff. So now we'd like to show you how some of that powerful 2.8 engine technology has been put to place here, like I said, in that new Toyota Land Cruiser, actually old Toyota Land Cruiser brought back to new life. So let's take a look at the Clean Cruiser project and bring out Mr. Steve Plug.
Thank you. First of all, thank you, Jennifer, for the intro. And I'd like to thank Don Scott of the National Biodiesel Board for having us and promoting our project, the Clean Cruiser Project. I'd also like to thank really quickly Jennifer and Tyler Case of New Leaf Biofuels for taking us on a tour of their facility. It's right down the road for any of you that haven't been there. It's about 3 miles or something from here, so definitely worth checking out. It was, those people have a great mission and are doing cool things. My name is Steve. I'm co-founder of the Clean Cruiser Project and CEO. Our project is designed to educate individuals on environmental conservation efforts around the world. I'd like to give you a quick rundown on who I am and what our project hopes to do in the next few years. And I'm going to start with my past. So in 2002, my father handed down to me my very first off-road vehicle. It was a 1994 Toyota pickup truck. And I explored the Sierra Nevada religiously with that truck and really started to understand what off-road enthusiasts have come to know, which is that you can get out to places out in the middle of nowhere and really see something that most people can't really understand. So anyways, 16 years later, I'm a 40 series junkie, and that means my pockets are empty, but I've got a big smile. I built that truck by hand. You know, it took me a little over a year, and it was well worth the pain. Throughout the years, put countless miles on a number of Toyota vehicles, and in all that time, over all those miles, I never once thought about the impact that my recreational vehicle use had on our planet. To be fair, it's not that I didn't really consider the environment. I just, you know, emissions just weren't something that I had thought about. I felt like I did my part, and I was one of the good ones. You know, I stayed on the path while I'm driving my truck. I picked up trash when I saw it. I left a campsite better than I found it, and I thought I was doing my part. Could have been a poster boy for Tread Lightly. But in recent years, I started noticing that the views from my pristine getaways, my hideaways, were becoming a little bit less remarkable, and I couldn't help but think about my part in that. And so, taking about 15 years down the road, and my good friend and I are sitting in our garage taking apart two beautiful Land Cruisers, and we decide, let's take a trip from Paso Robles, California to the Darien Gap in these things. As the rust was removed, you know, we started thinking, let's do something that's going to be beyond us. Let's do this trip carbon neutral. And so I'll let you know right now, restoration is not a young man's game. Like I said, pockets are empty, but totally worth it. Great life experience. We quickly determined that we could complete the combined 10,000-mile journey carbon neutral by planting trees and utilizing biofuels. After a few calculations, we discovered that we could plant about 200 trees and offset our carbon emissions. And now with biofuels, our understanding is that we'll have to plant even fewer trees than that. So the whole idea is to leave the air quality better than we found it, right? In any case, we began building a platform to share our journey with others, calling it the Clean Cruiser Project. That was supposed to be a placeholder, but it stuck. We're not geniuses, and you know, it worked out for us. So we quickly discovered that our followers were either diesel enthusiasts or off-road fanatics. And if you've ever talked to a diesel enthusiast or off-road fanatics about offsetting carbon emissions, it's a scary feat. It's scarier than my last tour to Afghanistan. My theory is that most people just don't want to be called a hippie or a tree hugger. And I don't know, I think most people in this room just really don't care what they're called. You know, do what's right for the environment. I have a healthy respect for the environment, and I imagine most people in this room do. So, fortunately, our audience continued to grow, and we decided to reach out to off-road industry. It was a lot of serious work, but over that period of time, over the last year, we gained about 30 sponsors, all the way from ARB to Martin Guitar to Tepui Tents, and perhaps most importantly, besides the National Biodiesel Board, Cummins Engines. Cummins Engines provided us with two brand new Crate R2.8 turbo diesel engines. And it was quite a feat putting them in there, but it was 100% worth it. Definitely, you know, increased the project's marketability, and that's why we're on the stage here today. So, what happened is basically, you know, we decided to go big or go home. So that's why we're here. Like I said, Clean Cruiser Project will be producing a web-based film series where we will investigate conservation efforts all around the world while traveling carbon neutral. Our goal is to inspire individual carbon footprint reduction and drive participation in conservation efforts. Not by shaming people, not by telling them that what they're doing is wrong, and but educating them and letting them learn along with us. That's our goal. And kind of teaching them that simple changes, like using alternative fuels whenever available, make drastic impacts. And, hopefully people will see that and connect with that. We're excited to say that this May we will also be showcasing both of our trucks at the Overland Expo West with the National Biodiesel Board, which is kind of something that came to fruition yesterday. So we're very excited about that and promoting biodiesel, all around the country. We can't wait to start spreading the word about third-party carbon sequestration and biofuels, but we can't do this on our own. Our nonprofit is currently fundraising for the first season of the film series, and we have designed a budget which is roughly $250,000. That may sound like a lot, but we're trying to shop this to Netflix, we're trying to shop it to Amazon Prime, and it takes money to produce a film series. But I think it's valuable. It has more value than a lot of other TV series I've seen. So in any case, for every $10 donated, our organization will plant one additional tree at one of 3 reforestation sites that have been provided by Patagonia. So we've been working with Patagonia. They provided us with 3 sites that they vetted and provided large grants to. So we are highly interested in finding a soul presented by a sponsor as well. So we're still working on that. If anybody wants to, talk to me about that later, please do. We are also accepting tree donations just directly from individuals on our website, which is www.cleancruiserproject.com. And if you have an Instagram, please check us out. We're always putting funny, ridiculous stuff on there, and Anyways, I'd like to thank the National Biodiesel Board and the rest of the panel, and enjoy yourselves. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephen, and thanks for bringing your beautiful truck. I know it was a labor of love and probably some blood, sweat, and tears as well. So we appreciate you making the effort to get it here and the Cummins engine in it as well. So with that, let's give another big round of applause to our panelists today. Thank you.